the year was 2021. In early June, that's when the cicadas attacked. Well, hi there, everybody. Welcome back to Joe Wednesdays. How we doing? What's new? Not too much on the home front right now. Did have a few stories to share this week, though. So Saturday we went to war with the cicadas. So yeah, I mean, basically, it's been on news on Facebook and that kind of stuff that every couple of decades ish or so, like a massive amount of cicadas come out of whatever to breed and stuff like that, and it makes a lot of obnoxious noise, kind of gross, and amount of carcasses on the streets and all this kind of stuff. So maybe a little bit of a nuisance, but in our backyard there is a freaking swarm of them. So on Saturday, Ashley decided that she'd get the pool out for Lydia, and we filled up the pool like kind of earlier in the day. So we went to play in it in the afternoon, and I guess I should mention a few things. I don't really know that much about cicadas other than they're loud and gross and large. But the other caveat for me individually is that like I have some pretty bad insect allergies. Anytime I've gotten bit by like a spider or a mosquito or like any other insects that have bitten me, I've had a pretty significant allergic reaction with swelling and whatnot pretty much ever since I was a kid. There's actually, my family has a really cute photo of me on like one of the first campouts I was ever on with them, and I'm sitting in this little like kid fold out chair with my legs propped up on another fold out chair. And I didn't know this until a few years back when my sister told me, but like the reason that I'm sitting there with my legs up is because that was the first time I had ever gotten bit by a bug, and my legs had doubled in size and I couldn't walk. So like I had my feet up because we were propping it up for the swelling. So so it's not significantly as bad as it used to be when I was younger, but I still definitely have allergic reactions to them nowadays. So that's the filler for essentially what transpired when we went to play with Lydia in the pool, because a cicada flew up and landed on my ear and started making noise. And I just had this like fight or flight immediate yelling scream like, God, yeah, oh my God, like I didn't know, like, cause like in my mind, like I'm like, I don't know if it can bite me. Oh God, get away! It's gonna kill me. Like I have since looked up that like they don't really bite humans or anything like that. So I mean, I was perfectly fine, but I did not feel it at the time. So, but I know for me, I was definitely like in like this kind of like fight or flight panic, but like I couldn't like go back into my house because I'm like, well, what about Lydia and Ashley? They're still outside, and so I ended up like after a while, Ashley was like, why don't you just spray them down with a hose? I'm like, you know what? That's a great idea. I'll spray them down with a hose. And as long as I was doing that, I at least felt better that I was fighting back instead of just having to like stand still in fear and paralysis. But my God, like I was spraying one down to the ground, and then there'd be another like 2 or 3 flying by, and it's like, God, get away from us! Why are there so many? And then later in the day, like I was just kind of looking out this window here when I was playing games, and like I saw a bunch of them swarming on there's this little tree that's like inside the fence line between our 2 duplexes, and like I saw 1 or 2 land on it, and then I realized it's like, oh my God, there are like 6 or 7 more on just that branch. And like as I kept looking, I'm like, there's a whole like freaking like swarm on just this tree. And then like I looked farther back into the yard, and this one tree is like covered, like like you couldn't see bark, like you couldn't see like I tried to take a picture, I'll try to share it here. Like the tree looked orange because of how many cicadas were just on that one tree, and then like all the other trees around it had bigger leaves like blocking them, but they were definitely still there. And it's just like, God, they're everywhere back there. So it's like, for one, no wonder they kept coming at us. Um, but yeah, it's like, so it was just, I went to war and I didn't succeed. But I definitely did not have the best reaction to them because I got totally freaked out. Um, and I don't know, back when I was a kid, when like bugs were bothering me or I was like scared of something, like I always had this habit of like when I would be falling asleep to like wrap my pillow around my ears, and as long as like my ears were covered, it helped me feel better. And I don't know, it was like a weird childhood coping mechanism that like I still kind of notice that it still kind of helps soothe me to like keep my ears like covered and warm. So we went out the next day to a friend's house and we were in their backyard, and like I was like wearing like a really light like snow cap that was just covering my ears, and he was like, "Why are you wearing that?" I'm like, I'm dealing with the thing right now with the cicadas, and it's really sad and pathetic, but like this is making me feel better to be outside. So whatever, I know it's weird, I'll own up to it, and let's keep going from there. So yeah, so that was my weekend war with the cicadas. I'm obviously fine, but my pride is pretty weakened. Okay, so that was that story. So we've been back to work for about a week now. Things are going good. I'm remembering why I'm not the hugest fan of where I sit at work. Cause like we have basically like an open floor layout. And then like our cubicles are like larger ones, and like there's 3 people in each corner of like this open cubicle, and then you have like the next team has a next group of 3 and so on. But like how my desk is oriented, like I have my back to the rest of my team behind me. And like I'm just like, I spent a year plus working out of my own room, so like now all of a sudden I hear people talking in the background behind me, and like I keep like looking back and getting distracted, and and like sometimes I think people are calling me from behind me and they're actually over there because I can't see them past my monitor. It's like I am so distracted and disoriented, but well, that's all right. I did like I heard like the co-op talking to another like co-op behind me, and I turned around and like I think they saw me notice them, so, and like they both just like looked at me like right as I turned. I'm like, oh, sorry guys, I didn't mean to accidentally eavesdrop. But yeah, so I mean it's gonna be, there's still some adjustment of getting back into the public space. But yeah, it's turning out to have some funny weird weird interactions. Um, but there is something going on at work. I'm not going to talk about too much details. I don't want to spoil the fun that's being had at work. But like there's some like playful pranky things kind of going on right now a little bit. And like when I remember when I first started over like full time work. For one, I wasn't in an office that really did that too much, but for 2, I wasn't really comfortable with I wasn't sure like how to do that myself, or if I was even okay to do that or anything like that. So I don't want to break any rules or anything. But like now that I'm kind of like a little older, I've had some experience in the office, that kind of stuff. Like I think it's cool that I'm in an office space that kind of like lets the employees be themselves a little bit and kind of like just like have a little bit of fun, and it's not like a stringent 8 to 5 you're supposed to be working kind of environment. So and it made me think of this kind of anecdotal thing. Like I used to watch MASH with my dad. Like we would be waiting for basically the evening news to come on, and really the only decent thing that was on right before it was MASH that my dad liked to watch, so I would usually watch it with him. But I remember this episode of MASH where like Hawkeye and the other doctors are just like really just like losing their minds, and they're like taking stuff out and dropping in, making messes and being very disorderly and all this kind of stuff, and the colonel's freaking out because there's like an inspector that's going to be like coming to their MASH unit to like inspect it, and so he's like, oh my god, we're gonna get like written up and in trouble, and the inspector actually does come in and like see what they're doing, and it's like, what is this nonsense, right? You know, so he's like getting ready to write them up and whatnot, and then you know, there comes an announcement over the radio that wounded are incoming, right? And so the doctors like stop what they're doing, and Hawkeye and them get right to work, and like, you know, they're doing triage, and then like they're doing surgery for hours on end, that kind of stuff. And so like, you know, the episode just kind of lets that play through a little bit. And then the episode ends with this inspector just like clutching his like notepad that he was writing on. He's just like clutching it, and he's just lying back like stunned from like what he just experienced. And he's just like he's like, I don't know like how the hell you guys like can do this, but like I certainly like how could you not go crazy and lose your head and like, you know, like cause, you know, like chaos and do all the stuff that the doctors were doing earlier in the episode. He's like, how could you not without like losing your sanity in this hell? Like and the only reason I was thinking of that at all is because like I know like some of my coworkers, like there's a lot of like projects and deadlines and that kind of stuff going on. I know like, you know, like I know of one of them, but I know a few of them like are doing pretty long work weeks right now. And I was actually like, I was glad to see them kind of blowing off some steam and doing some goofy stuff together and that kind of thing. Because I don't want them to burn out. And I mean, obviously I want to help them as much as I can, but I can't like do the work for them, that kind of thing. But yeah, like I was heartened. I'm glad I'm in a work environment where like that is accepted, because I think there's an overall good to them being able to express themselves a little bit and to have a little bit of fun and to, you know, like to disconnect from the work, just whatever small measurement that they can, to just be people and have a little fun. I think I'm really thankful and glad that I'm in that kind of work environment ultimately. So, well, alrighty, but that's all the stories I had for today. Hope you guys had a good week. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.